The key felt ice-cold against my skin, pressing into my palm like a warning as I stood in front of that weathered metal door 3 days after we laid David to rest. My reflection shimmered faintly in the tarnished handle, pale skin, shadowed eyes, the weight of grief etched deep. I was still wearing the emerald necklace he'd clasped around my neck the night before his heart gave out. Its green stones now heavy like chains around secrets I never suspected. The lock gave way with a sharp click that seemed to vibrate through my chest. What waited inside wasn't storage. It was the collapse of 16 years of marriage, the slow unraveling of the man I thought I knew completely. I didn't realize yet that crossing that threshold would make me question if the husband I'd mourned, the one whose favorite mug still sat on the kitchen counter in our quiet Seattle suburb home, had ever truly been real. It happened on a Tuesday evening. I just pulled a fresh batch of lemon bars from the oven, the ones David loved, waiting for the sound of his key in the lock at 6:30 sharp. Instead, the phone rang. The hospital voice was calm, professional, delivering the news like a script. Massive cardiac arrest. Quick, they said. Merciful. I nodded through the fog, clutching the phone until my knuckles whitened, the scent of citrus still clinging to my hands. David Thompson wasn't flashy. He was steady, a financial consultant who remembered every anniversary, brought me wildflowers every Friday, and made our childless home feel perfectly complete. 16 years of quiet dinners, Sunday hikes in the Cascades, and evenings where he'd rub my shoulders while we talked about nothing important. He never raised his voice, never stayed out late, never gave me reason to doubt. The funeral blurred past in a haze of black dresses and sympathetic murmurs. Neighbors from our cul-de-sac offered casseroles. My closest friend, Sarah, hovered nearby, refilling my water glass I never touched. Then my sister Vanessa arrived from Portland, her hug lingering a second too long, her perfume sharp and floral. Something in her eyes didn't match the sorrow in her words. He was like family, she said softly, but her voice carried an edge I couldn't place. Later in the kitchen, as she poured coffee, Vanessa dropped it casually. David lent me some cash last year. I was hoping we could settle it now. I froze. What cash? She smiled like I was joking. He didn't mention it? Don't worry about it. That night, sleep evaded me. I paced the house that suddenly felt unfamiliar, the wedding photos on the mantel, the couch where we'd watched countless movies. David's keys lay untouched on the entry table, the one mysterious key among them glinting under the lamplight. Years ago, I'd asked about the garage he rented across town. Just tools and old files, he'd said warmly. Nothing you'd care about. Trust was our foundation, private spaces stayed private. By morning, curiosity and grief drove me across the city to the industrial park south of Seattle, past chain-link fences and abandoned warehouses. The door groaned open. Dust and faint oil hung in the air. Fluorescent lights buzzed to life, revealing walls plastered floor to ceiling with photos, maps, clippings, timelines, organized with obsessive precision. My breath caught. David appeared in every image, but not the polished consultant I knew. Here he wore casual jeans, hair tousled, laughing freely. And beside him in nearly every shot stood the same woman, stunning, dark-haired, maybe 10 years younger than me, her hand often resting on his arm with easy intimacy. Photos spanned years. Beach sunsets in Oregon, ski trips in Whistler, intimate dinners with candlelight. Dates scrawled on the backs in David's handwriting went back 8 years. While I waited at home planning vacations or cooking his favorite pot roast, he lived another life. The most recent photo, dated just months prior, showed David at a table with her and a young man in his early 30s, all smiling like a real family. On the back, Isabella and Tyler. Family dinner. The room tilted. I gripped a metal desk for balance. That exact weekend, he'd claimed a late client dinner in Tacoma. Medical files on the desk confirmed it. Advanced coronary artery disease. High risk. He'd known. Instead of confiding in me, he'd spent his final months deepening this hidden world. Footsteps echoed behind me, soft, deliberate. I spun. There stood the young man from the photo. Dark hair and thoughtful eyes, so painfully like David's. Evelyn Thompson, he said evenly. I'm Tyler. David was my father. The world narrowed to the pounding in my ears. Tyler stepped forward slowly, hands visible as if approaching a startled animal. I knew you'd come eventually. His voice was measured, carrying the same calm cadence David used during serious talks. I sank into the desk chair, legs failing, looking into Tyler's face. I saw David's eyes, the deep hazel that once made me feel seen. You've known your whole life? I whispered. He nodded. Mom, Isabella, respected the boundaries. David kept us separate to protect everyone. Isabella had passed the previous year in a car accident on a rainy highway outside Portland. After that, David's absences grew longer. Tyler pulled a folded paper from his bag, a handwritten draft will. David's precise script listed unknown accounts, a company called Pacific Horizon not tied to his public firm, and instructions linking the necklace to a vault code. He knew time was short, Tyler said. He worried about loose ends, people who might come after what he'd built. Questions flooded me. Offshore transfers? Safety measures? Tyler admitted he'd begun investigating after Isabella's death. Unexplained wires. Accounts in his name. David feared exposure. Perhaps from business associates. We talked for hours in that dim garage, piecing together fragments. David had met Isabella during a work trip 8 years earlier. Their connection deepened quietly. Tyler was the son from that relationship. David provided financially, but visited sporadically to maintain the facade at home. The weight pressed harder, 16 years of Monday flowers masking double weekends. Quiet lies compounding. Sarah listened without judgment when I showed up at her apartment later that afternoon. Necklace still, around my neck like evidence. He was too perfect, she said finally, squeezing my hand. But perfection had been performance. I needed more answers. Vanessa's sleek downtown condo in Portland seemed an odd fit for her claims of financial struggle. She answered in lounging silk, wine in hand, smile too polished. A framed photo on her shelf caught my eye, her and David laughing at what looked like a company event 6 years back. The confrontation built slowly. I mentioned the garage. Photos. Tyler. Vanessa's demeanor shifted. You want truth? I'm pregnant. It's David's. The words landed like a slap. She was 3 months along. Had learned shortly before his death. He promised to handle it. Rage and nausea swirled. Their affair continued even after Isabella died. Vanessa saw herself as the escape from our routine. You had the house. The stability. I scraped by while everyone compared me to perfect Evelyn. I struck her before thinking, the crack of palm on cheek echoing. Glass shattered as her wine fell. Vanessa smiled through it. There you are. Not the devoted wife anymore. She reminded me the child was family regardless. I left shaken, muttering I'd honor the will for the baby's sake, not hers. The drive back blurred with tears. That night, holding the necklace, I felt its hidden compartment for the first time. Sarah insisted on joining the next morning. You're not facing this vault alone. Tyler met us at David's sleek downtown Seattle office tower I'd never visited. He'd called it a satellite space. Security waved us through. Tyler was co-listed. The 17th floor office felt sterile, glass walls, chrome desk. No trace of our life together. Behind an abstract painting waited the safe. The necklace's pendant twisted open, revealing a coded chip. The door hissed open. Documents. Flash drive. Wooden box. Bank deposit key. Papers detailed rapid international transfers. Contracts shielding assets. The wooden box held a gold ring engraved, always. Not for me. Isabella's. In that moment, the betrayal crystallized. David had reserved his authentic self for her. The laughter, vacations, commitment symbols, while I received curated remnants. Tyler handed over an envelope addressed to me in David's hand. The letter began without preamble. Evelyn, if you're reading this, I've failed to protect you in time. He admitted the double life stemmed from fear. Not just desire, protecting me from fallout. But the core accusation stunned. Vanessa wasn't accidental. She'd orchestrated the affair strategically. When David tried ending it post-Isabella's death, she threatened exposure. Worse, I suspect she caused Isabella's accident. Timing was too perfect. Helena, no. Isabella had booked a flight to start over. Brakes failed right after service. Vanessa knew about the pregnancy first. Silence gripped the room. Tyler's fists clenched. Sarah gasped. David's words painted Vanessa as dangerous, willing to eliminate threats. I sat numb, realizing my marriage hadn't just been a lie, it entangled me with potential murder. 2 days later, I arranged brunch at Sarah's porch. Vanessa arrived in a flowing maternity dress, hand on her subtle bump, chatting lightly about cravings. I smiled thinly, letting tension build. She probed my anger about the affair and money. Quietly, I leaned in. David didn't love me in the end. He feared you. I placed the flash drive visibly, but didn't elaborate. Her facade cracked, eyes widening, voice faltering. You can't prove anything. I agreed calmly. I won't go to police or court. I'll simply walk away, leaving you the money, the lies, the child you schemed for. But living with that weight, that will haunt you. She laughed nervously, but fear flickered. I stood, leaving her staring at the drive. That decision crystallized my path, no vengeance cycle, but escape from the wreckage. Packing became ritual. I wandered our suburban home room by room, tracing the kitchen island where David once surprised me with anniversary breakfast, the bedroom where we'd whispered dreams, the crack in the hallway tile we'd joked about fixing forever. Each touch released memories laced with deception. The suitcase held essentials, clothes, a few photos of better days, the letter. Everything else, the furniture, the life we'd curated, stayed behind. Locking the door felt like shedding skin. The lawyer meeting followed. Michael Reynolds, sharp and discreet, received copies of documents. The drive. My statement. If anything happens to me, I instructed, release everything publicly. Insurance against shadows. 1 week post-funeral revelations. I boarded a flight to a quiet mountain town in Colorado, Aspen adjacent but off tourist paths, where fresh air and anonymity beckoned. As the plane climbed, Seattle shrinking below, David's letter echoed, choices between fighting or fleeing. I chose survival. Forging identity beyond wife, beyond victim. Grief evolved into resolve during the descent. The emerald necklace, now symbol of both gift and key, rested in my bag rather than around my neck. In the new rental cabin overlooking pine forests, I unpacked slowly, breathing easier for the first time. Tyler texted once, checking in, offering connection if wanted. I replied gratefully but distanced. Blood ties didn't erase pain yet. Sarah called nightly at first, anchoring me. Months unfolded in quiet rebuilding. I took a part-time job at a local bookstore, finding solace in stories of reinvention. The baby's existence lingered as ethical shadow, innocent life amid deceit. Would I ever reach out? Legal channels ensured support without personal entanglement. Nightmares of Vanessa's smile faded gradually, replaced by tentative hope. Discovering the lie hurt profoundly, but truth liberated. The man I mourned existed only in curated moments, the real David layered deception upon affection. Yet from ashes rose clarity. I deserved authenticity, not performance. Winter settled over Colorado with crisp silence. Mornings brought hikes where snow muffled footsteps, mirroring internal quiet. Reflections deepened. 16 years weren't wasted entirely. They taught resilience, the value of boundaries. David's final act, the letter, offered unintended redemption, warning me before danger fully closed in. Vanessa's choices would define her path, mine focused forward. Occasional updates filtered through lawyers, financial transfers processed per will. No direct contact. The child, a niece or nephew, represented complicated family. One evening, journaling by fireplace, I wrote unanswered questions. Could David have chosen honesty sooner? Did love ever genuinely bridge his worlds? Answers remained elusive, leaving moral echoes. Strength grew in small victories, new friendships at the bookstore, painting the cabin walls soft blues, planting a garden come spring. The woman who once centered life around Monday flowers now cultivated independence. Betrayal's scar lingered, but it no longer defined me. Sometimes the cruelest discoveries force rebirth. David's death didn't end my story. It opened a chapter written in truth. As seasons turned, I occasionally touched the necklace, now displayed on a shelf rather than worn, a reminder of survival's cost and reward. The hardest part wasn't unmasking lies, but embracing who emerged afterward, no longer the trusting wife, but a woman charting her own course. In quiet moments, I wondered about the child growing up unaware of tangled origins. Ethics persisted, protecting innocence while safeguarding self. Life after deception demanded courage to trust selectively, love fully when ready. The mountain air carried promise. From the ruins of a perfect facade rose authentic beginnings. We don't choose the betrayals that shatter us, but we decide the foundations we rebuild upon. My journey continued, one honest step at a time, carrying lessons from darkness into light.